All That Matters, a family life program sponsored by the Coconut Grove Seventh-day Adventist Church. We are your hosts,
Thomas George
and Marilyn George. The objective of All That Matters is to equip our audience on how to manage various family dynamics. The lessons will be derived from the experiences of our guests. And today we have with us Mr. and Mrs. Durand, all the way from Tennessee.
Wow.
And we are happy to have them with us. So welcome, guys, to All That Matters. And
thank you.
Thank you. And I'm certain that our audience would like to get some background history about you two. So please tell us a little about yourselves.
Well, I am originally from the beautiful island of Santa Lucia, St. Lucia, which is, and, you know, came here and met this wonderful man, and the rest is history. I mean, it's been wonderful. God has been good. I never thought I'd be married. So I always was like, I'll be a single businesswoman traveling around the world, you know, enjoying my life, and God had other plans, and I love His plan. It's a good plan.
Well, that's good. What about you, Mr. Durand?
And as for myself, I am from Haiti, and I came over here from 1976. And from there, I moved to, no, well, actually, I lived in New York for about 12 years. And then from New York, I moved to Florida, specifically Miami, Florida. And then that's when I became a Christian, you know, Seventh-day Adventist Christian. And then the rest is history. Thank God I was able to meet this wonderful lady, you know, in Miami, Florida, singing and at our church, and you'll get to hear a little bit more about that.
Okay.
So, what are you most excited about in your
relationship?
Relationship. What are you most excited about?
I don't know. For me, I think the most I just looking for, you know, to live another day. You know, when you work hard during the day, and especially right now, you know, I'm working in the cold, and as cold as it is right here, it's just looking forward to come home, because there are so many people right now, you know, they work and work and work. The hardest part of the day is when it's time to come home. But when you have someone that a pleasant person, you know, that you can come home to and you can communicate with and get to talk to them about anything, I think it's just a wonderful thing. So, you know, so instead of looking back, you know, for me, I just keep on looking forward for the next day, what the next day is gonna bring.
And do you share the same sentiments?
Well, he kind of took part of my answer, but my big thing is just coming home and being able to lay on the warm body. I look forward to that.
So, how do you think you are doing as a husband, as a wife? How do you think you are doing?
Well, I think the best way is for me to answer for her and for her to answer for me, because I may think I'm doing well, but then, you know, that may be different. I think for my wife, is like, because she's such a friendly person, you know, she's an attractive person. Sometimes I wouldn't be, you know, it's like a good jealous. Sometimes I get jealous. Well, for me, I'm a, you know, reserved person. But whenever we go somewhere, it's like she just light up the place, you know, and then people get attracted to her. And then so I guess because of her, then people get attracted to me too. So, but I think that's the most important thing for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I love that my husband is opposite of me, which is great. I mean, people say, oh, when we got married, we used to call him Mr. Tabitha.
Yeah.
Mr. Tabitha, they used to call him. I'm like, no, he's my husband. So I'm like very outgoing. And then when I go and he's sitting in the back, I'll pull him like, come here. This is my husband, you know? And now he's like more open up and stuff. And you know, it's just actually, I don't know. But before I got married, people would say being married is like, you lose your independence and you like they make it sound like slavery, like you're going in a jail. But then I never felt that way because first of all, my parents, they were married and they're happy. They I never see them in jail. So I was never afraid of it. But for me, I'm like, man, Lord, I hope that I have a marriage like my parents. But when I got married, I mean, despite what everybody else was saying, that it's a really terrible thing, that it's a, I mean, it's been great. I mean, the wonderful thing is we allow each other to be ourselves. I don't try to change him. I'm trying to make him like me, and he's not trying to make me like himself. So I love his little quirks and silent, quiet thing, and I am like the opposite. So we kind of work together. It just
So,
like keep it going.
so every marriage, they have, ups and downs, every one of them, even mine.
Oh yeah, all of us.
If you could see one thing change in your spouse, what would that be?
If I would want something to change,
Yeah, what name one negative thing that you, if there is any, that you would love to change in your, or have changed in your spouse?
I don't know. I guess for me, my answer would be maybe something, or people say, "Oh, that's petty, petty." But for me, the only thing in my husband that I kind of would like it to be a little more is that was we were just talking about it before. It's procrastination. I don't like procrastination. I like to be like, okay, we gotta do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. And my husband will like, yeah. I'm like, come on. But then he's doing so much better now. You know?
But uh,
And I love it. And I know there's things about me that
Okay.
you see, here's the thing. And again, you see, and I truly believe one of the ways that God has put two people together is when they are opposite from each other. While I'm kind of laid back person, all right, my wife is like, it's like, you know what, let's do it. But you know what, in every situation, there's a time for everything. There's a time to just lay back and say, hey, you know what, let me watch what's going on before I, make a decision. But there's also a time that, hey, you know what, we gotta work quick. And I do believe that sometimes I get sometimes too laid back.
Okay.
And I do get laid back. And then it takes someone like, Tabitha to come say, hey, you know what, hey, this needs to be done. We have to do it. And especially, let's do it on a timely manner.
So it sounds
And,
like you guys complement each other. But how long
yeah.
have you guys been married?
Oh,
you answer that
no,
question.
you answer the question. I wanna,
The thing is,
What-
most men don't know the answer to that question, and it's the women that know the answer. So he knows. So I'm like, what is it, honey? And he always knows the
we've
answer.
been married for 14 years, going on 14 and a half years, going on 15 years.
There you go.
And
So you guys have been married for 14 years. And
Mhm.
full disclosure, we do know you guys quite well, going way back.
And we were looking at the pictures the other day, and we saw you guys a picture on
At
a
our wedding.
and everything. Yeah.
Long time. But the question to you both, you guys are fairly young, even though you've been married for 14 years, and being involved in church or at your different your respective place of employment, right? You come across both male and female, people who are attractive, people who are becoming. How do you safeguard yourself from that type of temptation, if any?
If
Well,
any.
for me, let me say this.
Even in church too, how do you guard yourself?
I I've grown, before I came into the church. I used to do, I used to be around people that would, I guess you could say don't respect their spouse, or their wives and stuff like that. And the mentality is, you know what, as a man, I can do certain things, and then but when it comes to the woman, you know, if she does, you know, if she fool around with somebody else, and she's, you know, you could call her all kind of names and so on and so forth. But then, especially when I became, and I had that mentality also. But when I became a Christian and I started learning, you know, the way of God and so on and so forth, and then not only learning the way of God, then I started uh, looking at it. I say, hey, well, wait a minute. What if this thing, if it was done to me, how would I have felt? You know, if it was, you know, my wife that was cheating or that was being attractive. Of course, everybody's jealous. As a matter of fact, as long as there's love, there has to be jealousy, because if there's no jealousy, there's no love. Okay, even God is jealous, right? It has to be, hey, me or, you know, nothing else. So when I look at it, I had to say to myself, you know what? The way I can only I was telling my friend the other day, I have to make it. I have to treat my wife so well that even
You spoil her.
even no, not spoiler. Even if she finds somebody else that she wants to be with, it will be her loss,
Right.
not my loss. Because I know I have tried to do, I mean, I'm not perfect, but I have tried to do everything that I can do in my power that nobody else can match what you know, can match me.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that I'm perfect now,
Okay.
but I'm gonna try to do whatever I can to, you know, to treat her the best way I can, and so that way, you know,
But welcome to you, Tabitha. Am I to understand, okay, from your answer, Jacques, that you've never physically respond to an attractive woman, not necessarily be in a relationship with that person, but I mean, you know, to just physically respond. You've never responded that way to another person other than your wife?
To respond, you mean
and
like an erection, like having a rise for a
Exactly.
sexy woman
oh no.
walking on the road?
As a matter of fact, uh, I have I have learned
Mm-hmm.
never allow myself as a man, because never allow myself to be in the same room with another person in a different, you know, of opposite sex, just by ourselves.
Okay.
It's not that I don't trust myself. Well, I don't trust myself, but also at the same time, I don't want it to be look upon from somebody else looking into me. Hey, I wonder what those people are doing in there, you know, in this room, you know, whatever. And also, as a respect for my wife,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that to happen. I would say, as long as we've been married together, maybe in my previous marriage, yes, okay, it did happen. But as long as we've been married together, no, that has never
Okay. Tabitha, what about you?
Well, Thomas, you said about spoiling. Yes, he does spoil me.
happened.
I was just telling him tonight when I came, my husband is very independent. My husband could cook, clean, wash, iron, everything. I say, you only need me for sex. You don't need me for anything else. And you don't need me for nothing. He doesn't care. He's so used to doing it. So he spoils me. That's true. And I love that. You know, honestly, have I looked at a man and say, wow, this guy is sexy? Yes, I have. I have. I said, yeah, this guy is sexy. Wow, yeah, nice it. But then I'm like, I got this chocolate here. And I was like, man, I'm like, so yes, I have looked, but then I never looked at somebody and say, oh, I want to have sex with this person. I wish, you know, but then I see handsome men, yes. But then there's a difference. There's a difference in going as far as saying, well, you know, I want to go home with him or go somewhere with him. And then I think there's a cutoff point was as far as you think about those things. But I think is everybody has done that. Whether once you're alive, you see nice looking people,
Okay.
and then that's where we gotta ask the Lord for the boundary to like, hey, let me not cross that line, because I've taken a covenant and I'm with my husband and he spoils me, and I don't know if the person will be able to ever spoil me like my husband does. So I don't want to take a chance.
Okay. Just
And
so
I really, truly, I love my husband. I love him very much, and he allows me to be me. He allows me to just, you know, just I'm like I'm saying, it's like I tell my husband, this doesn't feel like marriage. It's like because compared to what people say, that you lose yourself, you lose your identity. I'm like, really? It's like it's more fun now because I'm like my identity and your identity, and we just like play with each other identity. So this is it's pretty fun. I thank God for it.
do you ever find yourself comparing your current wife with your previous wife and say like that, I know not to do this because of what it does to a woman per se? Do you?
Oh man. I thank God for my previous relationship. Okay. First of all, because it proves to me that, man, I'm a person that needs a lot of help. Okay. Because maybe had I known then what I know now, my relationship, my first marriage would have been so much different. Okay. So when I left that relationship, I had to take a step back because I was very hurt. That's why maybe my wife and I, Tabby and I, it took us, about 4 years before we even got, get married and so on and so forth. Because I had to make sure that not totally healed, but at least I get to the point where I should not be comparing my previous relationship because it wouldn't be fair to Tabitha. Okay, so I had to make sure I get to the point where I'm like almost, totally healed. So that way, whenever something happens, I don't look, I say, man, I remember back then. As a matter of fact, sometimes I look at myself, I say, when something happened in our relationship and I started feeling a little badly about it, and somehow the Holy Spirit would say to me, man, what are you complaining about? Man, you used to be in the worst relationship, worst situation than this. But then you got through it. So this little thing, so this should be petty.
Yes.
Okay. So that's how I feel.
So since we are on this topic, let me ask you, maybe to each of you, if one day you are in a mood for something, but your spouse might not be in the mood, how do you handle that situation?
Sorry, can you clarify what is something?
It could be a piece of bread,
I don't want to answer anything I was going to ask. What is the something?
In the mood for a piece of bread?
The mood to copulate and then your husband is not. How do you handle that?
I don't know. That don't really. For me, when like if I don't know, I'm always in the mood. I'm sorry. I'm just saying, when my husband comes and say, oh, I mean, because I think that's so nice that my husband wants to be with me. Like, ooh, he wants to be with me, and like people say, I say no to. I don't say no to. Do I say no to you, honey?
Well, sometimes, she would really be, if my wife said no, it was because of tired. And it's not like I have a headache, kind of thing, that, and she really doesn't have a headache, but she would really be tired. But I realize maybe before we go to bed, yes, okay, she would be tired. But if we, something happened, we happen to be, awake in the middle of the night, it's no problem.
Okay.
I'm rested.
So yeah,
I've
she's
been
rested.
rested.
She's been rested.
We've been having such an interesting conversation with the Durands. But we will take a break and we will be right back. And when we do, we are going to continue with the theme, How Well Do You Know Me?
That's right.
Okay.
All right. Sounds like fun.
Hello everyone, welcome. This is The People's Views and I'm your girl, Teresa. This week's question is, would you get married if you both had no money? Here is what the people had to say.
Please note that the views and opinions expressed on the People's Views are not those of the Coconut Grove SDA Church or any other SDA church or conference. The views and opinions heard here are strictly that of the general public.
I feel that two people can get married because their marriage is not based on money. I feel like the money can always come if they strive more in their life, like as in the job or getting a job. I feel like marriage is for you to find that someone who will always be there with you no matter what. Financial stability is one of the reasons why people marry, but I feel like it shouldn't be the biggest part, because you can be married to someone that you don't love but has all the money in the world to give to you. So I feel like you don't need money to be married. Both of you don't need money to get married.
Money. My answer is yes. I would want to get married even if we had no money. However, my spouse should be able to work with me in order to improve our lives, elevate ourselves. So my spouse would have to be someone who is hardworking, who is willing to push to get us out of any financial strains, any situations we are going through. So yes, I would, but under certain conditions.
No, I would not. And the reason for, if he doesn't have any money and I do not have any money, how are we going to survive? At least if it's one person working at the time, he has some money, then by then maybe more likely I'll be able to maybe get a job and we can put together and then we can get married. But for for both of us to get married, he has no money and I have no money, no. I'm not gonna walk and borrow.
Definitely get married if we both did not have money, because I do not think that a criteria for marriage is money. Marriage is a union of two people becoming one, and when you do that, you have the opportunity to build and grow together, to support each other in whatever goals you set. And in that building, you do have the process to build wealth, and you can grow together, and in growing you can also grow monetarily. So I think that if I had the option to take everything else that comes with marriage and not have money on the onset, I would definitely take that option, because where you start in a marriage is certainly not where you end up, because as a couple you do grow together. And that's my thought.
Well, there you have it, folks. Until next time, this is The People's Views. Bye.
Hello and welcome back to All That Matters, and our guest today is Tabitha and Jack Durand. And right now we are going to go into the segment, How Well Do You Know Me?
All right, and the first one goes to you, Mr. Durand. What is your wife's favorite hymn?
Oh,
You write it down, Tabitha.
Okay.
oh, my pen. Don't look up mine. I should be looking at.
Okay, do I show you?
Yes, please
Yes.
show us. Okay, and we're waiting on his response.
I don't know. Oh.
Oh, nice. Under his wing.
Wow.
Yeah. Jacques, what is Tabitha's favorite color?
Oh man.
Can you write yours still?
Favorite color.
Okay.
Okay. Can we see?
There you go. Very good. 2 out of 2. Next one. When was the last time you say I love you to each other?
Oh, man.
Oh.
So far, 2 out of 2.
Huh?
Go ahead. Okay, we get that.
Okay.
All right, very good. 3 out of 3.
Yeah.
Jacques, this is for you. What is your wife's love language?
What is what?
My
Love
love language.
language.
Oh.
Write yours down, Tavi.
Oh. I never know what it is. I love languages. I don't know. Do I know the love languages?
Okay, let's see what he has.
What you have, honey?
Oh, nice.
Let me see.
He doesn't even know that.
That's it. That's it, man.
He had to remind you.
Oh, well, the reason why I say that, that is because when she sees flowers, right? I mean, she just, lights up. That, and whenever we're passing by, because I know that whenever we're passing by somewhere, well, I hardly buy any flowers for her. Okay, I would most never buy flowers for her. But we could be passing somewhere, especially in Florida, we're passing by somewhere, and then we see some hibiscus or some flower in there, and when I come home, I would go to somebody's yard and pick flowers, or even if I have to buy, instead of buying bouquet of flowers, I would buy plants. Okay, I would buy plants with flowers. And so instead of having to spend the money and just buy a flower that's gonna fade away, the next day or so, but I can always go to my garden and pick a flower, and then I will put it in my hair.
In my hair, right? Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
So my husband, I like beautiful flowers. So what he did, he went and he bought a couple in Coaston. He have a couple rose bushes. So on its side. So when the roses, you just pick one, and before everybody just pick a rose. I was like, okay.
All right, next one. So far, 4 out of 4. Next one. Who is the most spiritual in the home?
Spiritual.
Yep.
Oh.
We're both trying to get there.
Okay, we get that.
Oh, I think.
Wow.
Okay.
5 out of 5.
Yeah. Where did you guys go on your honeymoon?
Oh. And where do we still go on our honeymoon? We still go there. As a matter of fact, for our last anniversary, we left Tennessee and went to that same place for our honeymoon.
Okay, tell us. Share with us.
Oh, Rich.
Maybe someone will want to go there. Richard's
Hotel.
Oh,
yeah.
Richard's Motel in Hollywood.
In Hollywood, yeah.
In Hollywood, Florida.
Very nice. What, 6 out of 6?
Yeah, 6 out of 6.
All right, here's a tough one. Who takes care of paying the bills? Okay, we got that.
You have a lot of sheets of paper to read.
Wow.
You just write it on the same so many paper.
So they could
7 out of 7.
I don't handle money. She handles all the money. Yeah.
Okay, let's go with the favorite dish. What is Tabitha's favorite dish?
I don't even know what that is. Favorite dish.
Bring it down. Bring it down. Hey,
Lamb. Oh, I'm sorry.
It was
Well,
lamb.
Marilyn, I don't think you know.
all right.
I helped you,
Yeah, I mean,
Lamb.
she,
I don't know why.
she's trying to be.
Lamb and colored greens, is that what it is?
She's trying to be a vegetarian, but man, she's a softie for lamb.
All right. How many? 7 out of 7 so far?
So far.
Oh, wow. Okay, here's the next one. Tabitha, what is his favorite Bible verse?
Ooh. Bible verse.
Yes.
That's a good one.
I'm supposed to write mine too?
Yep.
Yes, yours. That's right.
I think I have that wrong.
Okay, let's see.
Siki first.
Wow, that's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Oh.
We're gonna do just about 4 more questions. What is the one thing that she complains the most about you, Jack?
I think it has to do. It has.
Write it down.
Oh.
And Tabitha, you do the same.
Complain.
Yeah. Okay. That was said earlier.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think we answered that question
earlier.
You guys seem to travel a whole lot. So who's the best driver?
Or who's the only driver?
That's what you ask the question. Yeah, I was like, I'll give you that, huh?
Hubby. Okay.
I mean, Tabitha's a great driver, but I just enjoy driving, and she enjoys sitting down and not
being
driving.
driven,
Yeah.
Okay.
Being chauffeured, yes, I enjoy that.
Okay.
All right, the next one is, have you ever had an argument that caused one of you to sleep in another room?
Yes or no?
Yes or no? How many is that? 10? 9?
I have lost some track. You're doing so well.
Oh, wow. No.
We don't believe in that. We don't believe in that. No, there's no. I mean, we get into some arguments, but when it comes to sleeping, I think sometimes that's the beginning of separation.
Let's talk about money management.
Okay.
You guys are a young couple. You stated that you are both employed, right? Do you have a situation where we are dealing with our money, or is it my money, her money? And if not, if we're dealing with our money, at what point in the relationship did her money become our money as well as your money become our money?
You want me to answer that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, let's just say, first of all, when we got married, what we're gonna say, we don't recommend it to just anybody. Okay? When we got married, and you guys were at the wedding, we started with nothing.
Nothing.
When I said nothing, I mean nothing. Even the wedding plans and ceremony, it was friends that we had, and God bless mom, and it was people that pulled together to even help us to get the place, at the hotel and so on and so forth. And when we got married, we started with almost nothing. Okay, and this I'm saying is really, I know there's talking about trust. Before we got married, Tabitha said to me, you know what? I love you so much that even if we have to move under the bridge, as long as you are there with me, we will go through it.
And I meant that.
That resonated in my mind up until now. And believe me, there has been time that, we almost had to go under the bridge. Okay? And she was always there. So when I saw that, I said, wow, that is somebody to be with, because, it wasn't something, but when we first started, because we didn't have anything, so of course, whatever we get, I didn't come with anything, she didn't come with anything. So whatever we get, it wasn't, well, this is my money or this is her money. It was our money. And along the way, we made quite a bit of money, right? But we never, because we didn't manage our money well, it was coming, and as soon as it comes in, and it left our pockets or, our purse or whatever it is. It wasn't until that we went to a financial seminar and we decided to start managing our money, budgeting, and so on and so forth. Before, we used to pay so many $35, for a bounce check or bounce, but now that we're making maybe 1/4 of what we used to make, but we have financial peace of mind that we never had when we were making a whole lot of money. Just because of not only that we her money is my money, okay, my money is her money anyway. So because of that, we do have financial, peace of mind. And I thank God that Tabitha is not a shopaholic. That was a blessing for us when we found out, when we went to this financial seminar, how to manage our money. Man, it makes things so much easier.
Yeah. And I think another thing is being raised with my parents. Even if my dad made money, my mom was not spending money. My mom bought what she needed. And I was always contented. We were contented with what we have. We're not trying to match anybody. We're not trying to live like the Joneses. We're happy with simple things and happy with, spending time with each other, going somewhere with each other. It doesn't have to cost $1 million. It's just the moments and the stuff. And that's what really I like. So the money, like my husband said, we have the money. We live it. After we did the Financial Peace University class, I was telling my husband, oh, it's been like a couple of weeks. We haven't looked in our accounts to see what's there, because before we were always looking every day to see there's something, oh my God, did the check come in, whatever bounce. Now I'm like, we just put everything, like we tell our money what to do. Our money don't tell us what to do. We tell it where to go, when to go, we schedule it, and then we don't have to worry about it. Is it there? So it's really, I recommend it to any couple before. Put it together. When you get married, continue it. It is, trust me, it has relieved a lot of stress for us. So I thank God for that. And I'm like, I buy what I need. I don't really just go buy because of anything.
And also, not only that, I think that, let's say for instance, in our budget, okay, everything is every penny goes on paper. You would look, ever since it's been like what, 3 years now about 3 years now since we've been budgeting, our money. He has her pocket money, I have my pocket money. So you see, sometimes in a family that if a wife goes and buys something, they say, oh, but wait a minute, how come she's spending so much money? Because it's her money. It's there in the paper saying that, okay, that's her money. She wants to use it, the whole money for 1 month, or she wants to let it accumulate for her to buy something personal that she really wants. So everything goes, of course, we have not been perfect at it, right? But I would say that helps. I mean, I would recommend that to every single couple, that whether you're thinking about getting married, whether you, in fact, people say budgeting is good, is bad. It restricts you. In fact, budgeting frees you.
Yes. Thank you very much. We will be back.
Praise the Lord.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay.
On. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to All That Matters. We are continuing our programming with the Durands, and we are having such an interesting time with them.
Yes,
and we thank you for just being part of our program today. So
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for choosing us.
All right. And the next question is, what has been the greatest obstacle you have faced in your marriage? The greatest obstacle you have faced so far?
Oh, are we finished with the papers?
yes, we're done. Yeah.
You wanna?
I don't know what's the obstacle. Go ahead.
No,
While
I think you go. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think about the obstacle.
I don't think I'll call it an obstacle. You know, when two different people come together, two different personalities, two different cultures, two different whatever come together, you know, we bump heads and stuff. But I don't think that's an obstacle. I think that's an amazing opportunity for us to grow. Because I'm telling you, I was like, and my husband has been like really a calming effect in my life. Because, you know, like even when like the very few arguments that we have, which I don't remember when was the last one, which thank you, Jesus. But it's just, you know, the way he responds. I'll be like, okay, so and he'll be like, well, you know what, honey? I'm not even going to respond to you right now. I don't want to answer that right now. I need to calm down because I really don't want to say anything to you to have to come back and apologize.
Right.
Give me some time to think about it. And this has really taught me that he just like saying, you know what, I'm not going to respond. And then, you know, now I'm like, okay, it doesn't make sense starting nothing with him because he's not going to respond right now. And by the time he responds, the argument is already cold. It's already not hot anymore. So he has taught me really to think things through. And I thank God for that because, you know, it's really has gotten me to a point where I just say, you know what, okay, fine. I told him that he's going to respond. And then it actually had me thinking of the way I approach him. Because if I want him to respond, I have to approach him differently. So he'll be able to say, okay, well, we can have a conversation. But when I come like, well, you did it, you say, you know what, I'm not going to respond to that right now.
Okay.
And then the next day, I'm like, okay, so you ready to tell me something? He's like, no, I'll let you know when I'm ready. And by the time he's ready, I'm like, what was that about again? I totally forgot. And then it really just fizzles. I said, thank you, Jesus. Imagine both of us were like this. If we both were like that, then we could never get anywhere. So he's like ice on the heat, which is good. And then, yeah, I thank God for that.
So,
for me, I think I don't like to say I'm sorry. Okay? Not that if the situation, you know, comes, that I would not say sorry, but it takes a lot for me to say sorry. So because of that, and secondly, I may look calm, but I do have like sometimes I wouldn't say an anger problem, but I would shout a lot. Sometimes when I don't get my way, I would shout a lot, you know, and then when I shout, I don't care how right you are. The minute that you start shouting, okay, you lose your rights. Okay, so because of that, with a lot of prayer now, okay, I found myself, getting rid of that anger. And instead of being angry, even if I feel angry, but I had to take a step back and say, Lord, I know what anger has caused me, before. So please help me. Okay. And the minute that I start feeling that I'm starting to get angry, I would say a word of prayer and say, Lord, I don't want to get angry, but right now I'm really feeling it. So that's why it's not because I'm a good person that I would get there. It's just because that I'm trying to learn how to control my anger by saying, you know what, and because I don't like to say sorry, because of those two things, I just would not answer you at this time. Okay. Let us, because time does, heal certain things. Right. So by the time I get calmed down, if I had reacted at that time, I would have said something to hurt her. But this is not what I really want. Okay. So that's why I step back and I would say, hey, give me some time to think about it. So that way I can put my words together to answer, to say what I have.
Okay. And is there any advice that you wish that you had gotten prior to you getting married?
Well, I mean, for me, it was my first marriage, and my husband had been married before, but it's still two new people coming together. I don't know, what was the advice? Maybe have a little money. But that was not even advice, because along the way we worked together, we made money together. I don't know, I think it was fun learning what marriage is, because on top of the fact that people were telling me, oh, you're going to be trapped, you can't, even on my wedding day, you should see the videos where they say, oh, your freedom is lost. I'm like, actually, my freedom is now doubled. I believe that, because the kind of person he is, I know he's not somebody that's going to keep me, you can't go out, you can't call. He had trust for me, and I had trust in him. So I don't know, I just figured, hey, we're going to find this out together. But I wouldn't advise that for everybody, because now with so many things going on, what I wish I found out before, nothing. It was nice, really finding. I think I had the example of my parents. That's what really, because I saw my mom and my dad just enjoying this life, and my dad and my mom. So I'm like, oh, it's not bad at all. And then they were there for so many years. So I'm surprised we've been so many years together, because I'm like, who could stay with one person for 15, 20 years? And now it just flew by so fast. And I was like, wow, it's been an amazing journey. So, I mean, we had marriage counseling before, and we answered some questions of what it is that we're expecting, what it is that we want. And marriage counseling, trust me, is really good. And I didn't think it's marriage
when you
counseling.
find a good counselor.
Yes, good Christian counselor. They ask all kind of questions. Yeah. They're in your bedroom and everything. Yeah. So yeah, that was a good thing. And then the other thing is, I think now people need more than marriage counseling. I think they need dating counseling. So who to date, like stuff like that. It starts from dating, and then you work into marriage. That's where I think.
Okay.
So I just want to say that I think that what I have learned that helped me in our relationship now is that God has put two imperfect people together, and usually is that we are opposite of each other. Okay. Yeah. So the reason why a lot of couples have so much conflict with each other is because they only see themselves. We are selfish. Okay. I am this way, and I want you to be this way, and vice versa. Okay. So instead of allowing the person to be herself and me be myself, we come almost like a competition. We compete against each other, wanting each other to be the same way that we are. But that's not the way God wants it to be. God wants me whatever I'm lacking, my wife is strong in that part. So I have to give it to her. So when she talks to me because of something that I'm doing wrong, I shouldn't be, on her and say, hey, who are you to be telling me this and so on. Instead of trying to, excuse myself of my weakness, I listen to her. And it should be vice versa. That way, one can complement the other. And we also need to understand that marriage is not about just having fun. Especially a Christian marriage, it has to be, we have to get to the point where she's going to help me to make it to heaven, and I'm going to help her to make it to heaven. That's the ultimate reason God put us together, is for one to help each other to make it to heaven. So, and all the other perks and the, the bonus and stuff like that, yes, we can enjoy it. But if a couple approach, their marriage this way, I'm going to help my wife to make it to heaven, and she's going to help me to make it to heaven. I think the divorce rate would not be, so high, especially in.
All right. So, our viewers, they're listening to you guys, and some may have the impression that, this only works in a theoretical reality. Okay, what can you say to our viewers who are listening to you and who are observing you, and they are contemplating marriage, and they're saying, oh my gosh, they sound like they have the perfect relationship, the perfect marriage, but this does not seem to be true to me. What words of advice can you share with our audience, our viewers today?
What I can say is this: we all need to remember that we are two different people with two different personalities when we're coming into this one thing, this union. So we need to be able to give and take and say, like, you know what, I used to think that way. You're right. Let's look at what you're saying. Let's see how we could work it out. Even what I'm saying, to be able to work together. Another thing, you pray for a good husband. If we choose him because he's sexy, because he got money and stuff, yeah, all of that can go away. But with somebody for good heart, how I fell in love with my husband, I saw he was so nice to people, all feeding, and he was so kind to the older people, and he was just easygoing, and he loved, and I was like, wow, I can live with that guy, and then I was praying, and we started talking, getting to know each other, what other's dreams, even if we don't have the money, but we had plans and we had dreams, and I totally believe that if we give it to the Lord, we'll make mistakes, but remember, it's two imperfect people coming to a perfect union with God in it. So we just have to be patient with each other.
Okay, and well, let's I guess you want to say something too, but let's end on this note. Well, on two notes. First, is there anything that you guys want to say to each other that you have not said in the 14 years of marriage? This is your opportunity right now. What would you like to say to each
other? I don't know. I think the ultimate thing would be, I love you, and whatever it is, when we wake up in the morning, okay, we say I love you.
You just say it out of routine, like you know how you get up and just say good morning to your neighbors, and is it just routine, or you actually express that I love you, even though we had a misunderstanding today, I really love you, and so good night, whatever.
But you see, the thing about it is,
there you go.
Love is an action. Okay?
Yes.
Love is not just something that you say. Love is, because there's so many people that we take the word love, for granted. We use it just anyhow. Right? But love is an action. It's not just saying I love you, but I have to demonstrate that I love you. How I treat you, and one day she goes to work, and then I just cook her favorite dish. When she come home, and then surprise her, and without even telling her this is. Things like she likes that to help her understand that, hey, I'm not just saying it. but I'm just
I'm thinking
yeah,
about
yeah.
you.
Yeah. And for me, I'm not my wife is very verbal. Okay, for me, I'm more of a reserved person. I do more than I say. Okay, so I would show my love. Even it's good, very good. Don't get me wrong. Okay, it's always good to say it. And I'm learning that. I'm learning to say it more, but I do it more in action.
And our time has been well spent, but I'm going to squeeze in one last question to both of you.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
At the end of it all, what matters to you most?
To be with him.
About our relationship?
Yes, well.
To be with him, to be with him. He makes me, he allows me to be myself. And I don't know anywhere else to be but to be myself. So when he allows me to be free and he could be free, it's like it's just like fluid, which is cool. It's not stressful.
I just think it'll be good. Even though I don't believe we have another 14 years on this earth again. I think Christ will come. But I think he's just looking forward to another beautiful 14 years. Again.
Very nice, very nice. And it looks like we're going to have a wonderful evening.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Nice seeing you guys.
The next program, we're going to have another couple, and we're going to learn what makes their relationship interesting and learn from the dynamics of their relationships. Thank you very much, guys.
Life after a failed marriage can be a very lonely experience. The likelihood of not finding a partner, even though you want to, the likelihood of falling into a state of depression, the likelihood of losing friends that you made during your marital journey are all daunting experiences. But wait, there is good news. Life after a failed marriage can be a new opportunity to carefully consider, what do you want from a partner? Is marriage what you really want? And if it is, are you ready?
Life after a failed marriage can be beautiful and fulfilling. And if you still desire another partner, remember, insecurities do melt away when you find someone to love who knows you would still be incomplete. So, in your time out moment, reflect and reevaluate the variables, the diversity that did not serve you right in your relationship. Take that time out moment to work on yourself. In the meantime, this has been All That Matters. And see you next time.